Hello, my name is Dan Mucci, and I'm the Director of Marketing for Child and Adolescent Behavioral Health, and your host for today's segment. The Canton City School District continues to partner with Child and Adolescent Behavioral Health Agency. Our agency provides a myriad of resources to the Stark County community, and most importantly, to the students within the CCSD. Each month, we will feature resources and strategy to help the mental well-being of our young people. Today, I am joined by fellow Glen Oak High School and the University of Mount Union graduate, Andrew Burwell. He is our principal of Child and Adolescent Behavioral Health's Trauma-Informed Day Treatment School. And as summer continues to fly by, many of our families are already beginning to think about that dreaded word, the upcoming school year. So today we'll be discussing CNA's unique Trauma-Informed Day Treatment School and share some helpful tips for students and parents as they begin to transition back into school routines. As always, Andrew, welcome to the program. I love having fellow Glen Oak and Mount Union graduates on.
Oh, yeah.
How are you doing today?
Doing pretty well. It's pretty nice out.
How's your summer going?
Oh, it's going amazing. Lots of pickleball, but...
Lots of pickleball.
Oh, yeah.
That's great. Not a pickleball player myself. Tried it once or twice. Think I'm going to have to pick up the pace a little bit.
All right. We'll get you into it.
Yeah, well, you know, the summer's either been rainy or hot.
Oh, I know. Tell me about it.
Last week, we didn't have great air quality. This week looks a little better, so.
That's true.
All right, but it sounds like you're an experienced player, so I don't know if I want to go up against you.
We'll give you a shot. We'll give you a shot.
Maybe you and Melissa or Colin should play each other.
Colin would do very well.
Yeah, Melissa's our CEO, and Colin Christensen leads a lot of our interns and other programs. But we've digressed a little bit, so let's get started with today's program. So, Andrew, for viewers who may not be familiar with CNA's Trauma-Informed Day Treatment School, can you provide an overall overview of the program and explain why that program is so important?
Yeah. So our program, it's located in downtown Canton. Some call it CNA, some call it Shipley. It's the Trauma-Informed Day Treatment Program. The main goal of this program is we serve students who have experienced trauma. So this isn't a program for kids who just struggle with behavioral issues. This is a program for kids who have trauma in particular. And that trauma is preventing them from being able to access the general education curriculum. And so kids will come to us from all over Stark County, sometimes outside of Stark County, and we kind of work with them to develop healthy coping skills. They'll do skill building group, and we work with them for long enough to where they can then either go back into that public school setting or they can go to a less restrictive environment.
So when we talk about trauma, obviously trauma would be different for every student. Just give our viewers a little bit of an example of trauma for, you know, a student.
Okay. So a student may have had trauma and it could present itself in multiple different ways. They may not be trustworthy of certain individuals. I know that a student in the past, the smell of a certain cologne would always set the student off. And it wasn't until 2 or 3 months in that they found out, oh, if it's this person's cologne, if they stop wearing this cologne, they tend to do very much better. And then I won't go into the details of their own individual trauma, but that cologne had a very significant impact on them and it was affecting them. And there's just a variety of different traumas that affect kids in different ways, so it's hard to pinpoint exactly one single thing, but they always result in different behaviors.
Yeah, just very interesting there. So CNA's school is truly unique. It is one of only a few trauma-informed day treatment schools in Ohio, and the only program of its kind in northeastern Ohio. So tell us about the structure of the classrooms, how many students can be in a typical classroom, and then how students are grouped by grade level, which is a little bit different than what somebody might expect in a traditional school.
So each of our classrooms is set up to where we can have 8 students max in a classroom. We really like the small classroom group size because it really helps us to target every individual kid on an individual level. Every classroom has a teacher, it has a therapist, and it has a behavioral interventionist. So there's always 3 adults in the room with the kids all day long being there to support them. We have an elementary room, a middle school room, a high school room. So we try to divvy it up grades 1 through 4, and then grades 5 to 8, and then grades 9 to 12 in the high school.
So that we're covering all age groups. They're just grouped a little bit different.
Yeah, depending on the year, they're just grouped a little bit differently.
All right. So, since we're the only school in Northeastern Ohio, where do our students come from who attended day treatment school? And then what types of challenges may lead to a student benefiting from this program?
Yeah, we have students primarily coming from public school systems in the Stark County area, but there are times where there's just not a lot of places for kids to go outside of Stark County, so they will actually bus the kids over to us and we work with them. Some of the challenges kids can face, and we work with them, just staying in an assigned area, following directions, using appropriate language. And these are things that a lot of kids struggle with, but if you have trauma and it's affecting you, it's very much impacting you more than a standard kiddo would.
Yeah, so Andrew said most of our students come from Stark County, but we have had some students as far away as Sebring, Carrollton, Dover, New Philadelphia. I know we've had some inquiries from Cleveland.
Yep.
So just so you know, a lot of our students, the school district is responsible for busing the kids to and from school every day. So sometimes a distance to Cleveland can be a small barrier there. We all know how public school typically works. You show up at 7:30 for the high school, you're dismissed at 2:30. You know, those times vary for your middle and elementary schools. But what does a day look like at CNA? So what is a traditional school day? How do you continue to work with their academic progress? Because as you mentioned, you're dealing with 4 grade ranges at a time. And then so much is happening throughout the day. So can you explain the therapeutic component that is also integrated into that school experience?
Yeah.
Loaded question there.
Loaded question, totally fine. So we pretty much try, in my approach, to say it's half education, half therapy, but the overall nuance is overall therapy. So every single staff member is what's known as being trauma informed. They know how to approach a kid who's gone through trauma and to say the correct thing, to do the correct thing. Throughout the entirety of the day, they have about 2.5 hours worth of group therapy where they work on skill building things, and they also can get pulled to work one-on-one with their therapist. That usually happens once or twice a week, more or less depending on the severity of what's going on in their life at the time. And the rest of the time is usually, gym and outdoor activity. They're getting their academics done. Kids typically arrive at about 8 o'clock. They leave somewhere between 1 to 2:30, just depends on the district and when their buses get to them.
All right. So you mentioned some of the things they do are still relevant to a normal school day. They have gym class, they get to go outside on nice days. But one of the things that you and our superintendent, Mike Labriola, have specifically worked on is to give kids a little bit more opportunities outside of the classroom, kind of try to build up a field trip experience here or there. So kind of explain what some of those activities and field trips have looked like.
Yeah, so a lot of the things we try to do, we try to make experiences for the kids that they either would get in a public school setting or something they wouldn't normally get. For example, we brought on Jungle Terry. He brought in a few different types of lizards and birds, and we all went to the gym. The kids got to interact with them. They got to see them, learn about them. We've taken kids to Sippo Lake, and we've gone to a couple different parks. We've had the firefighters come and do a firefighter day where they let them go into the vehicle. They actually get to honk the horn, which is kind of cool. They all got their little hats. So we try to do experiences where the kids can learn something while also having that fun experience to go with it.
Yeah, I think it all sounds fun except for all those animals you kind of brought in. I'm just not an animal person.
Oh man, you're missing out.
Me. I know, that's what everybody tells me. So let's shift gears a little bit. We've talked about the school. Summer may feel like it just began by the calendar, but as we all know, first day of school is like right around the corner. I'm not quite sure when CNA's first day of school is. But what are some ways students can begin to prepare now for the successful return to the classroom? And of course, we do have groups going on during the summer, so a few of our kids are already preparing, but overall, how can kids kind of start to wind down and prepare?
So something I've noticed both in our program and in public schools, the biggest barrier I keep seeing every year at the start of the year is fixing the sleep schedule. Every year there are kids that come back and they say, oh my gosh, I haven't woke this early in so long. So I think one of the biggest hurdles for kids is just getting back in the routine, because a lot of kids, sometimes myself, I wake up at 5:30. Other kids I know, that's crazy, but they have to get back in the routine of going to bed at an appropriate time, waking up in the morning, being dressed, being prepared, and then going to school. That big first battle is fixing that sleep schedule that always gets routinely messed up in the summer.
Yeah, so at the beginning of summer, we had Mary Kreitz come in. She's our lead trauma specialist, and she was talking about keeping those routines throughout the summer. But I know when I had my own kids, like that's just so hard to do when it stays nice late till like 9:15, 9:30. So you said establishing routines is important for children of all ages. Some students remain active throughout the summer with different programs, while others have a more relaxed schedule. What advice would you give to transition back? So August is approaching. Is like August 1st the time to say, hey, we're going to start going to bed 10 minutes earlier? But if you're going to bed at midnight or 1 in the morning, 10 minutes isn't going to make a whole lot of difference.
I would say about 2-3 weeks before school starts, try to fix it by about an hour each time. And then by the time school starts, you should be good to go. And when it comes to starting school, I always say have a growth mindset, not a fixed mindset. You should always be in the mindset of, I can do this if I do this. But if you're in the mindset of, oh, I'm not going to be able to wake up, I'm not going to be able to do this, it's going to be much harder.
Positive mindset. There you go. So the first week of school can be exciting. It can also create some anxiety and stress for both students and parents. What are some practical steps there to make a smooth transition? So you talked about the sleep schedule, but it's more than sleep. Like, you know, you said you get up at 5:30 every morning. I get up at 5:45 every morning. I've got my routine. But what about a student? Like, preparing the backpack. Do they need to pack a lunch to come to CNA's day treatment school? Kind of what goes on in that process?
So if you are ever in doubt whether in this program or in public school, it's always helpful to reach out. Hey, what do I need on that first day of school? That way you already know the expectation. And as I said, that growth mindset, it will set you up for success no matter if you are a student, a parent, a teacher, principal. If you wake up and you just tell yourself it's going to be a good day, even if there's challenges, I'm going to get through this, you are more than likely going to be successful.
All right, well, I'm going to stop into school a few times and see how that mindset works for you guys. But many students experience a mix of emotions as the new year approaches. What signs should parents watch for that may indicate their child is struggling a little bit emotionally or feeling overwhelmed?
Typical signs are usually when a kid is a little bit more aggressive than they may normally be. They may be a little warded off from other people. Changes in their routine habits keep happening. These are signs that a kid is probably going through something and they just don't have the ability to say something. So if you do notice anything like that, it's always nice to have a conversation with a kid and say, hey, anything going on, anything you want to talk about, I'm here. And a good question to always ask every time we approach a kid, and we're trained to say this, is, what's up? It's very non-intimidating. It's very non-anything. You just, what's up? And just see what's going on.
Nice. And the dinner table might be a good place to start that conversation.
Very true.
So let's talk about CNA's school. When does the school year begin? CNA follows the Canton City school calendar, I believe. So can you explain how that schedule works for our viewers when you're getting kids from 17 other school districts into your program?
So we try to follow the Canton City school district calendar as best as we can. Our first day of school is going to be August 17th. And so when we start school around winter months, I try to get a message to all of the schools, all of the parents, all of the kids, just to remind them when there is a snow day, because I know there's a lot of snow days here, we always go by Canton City schools. A lot of times if you're a plain local kid and they get called off, they may get called off and you don't come to school, it's like, well, hold on. We go by Canton City schools. Buses will still run for you.
Okay, so we're following the Canton City school calendar mainly for days off of school, not necessarily for parent-teacher conference days, professional development days, or anything else. So when we say that, we're following it for time off. And really, I think if Plain's off, or North Canton's off, or Jackson's off, then good chance the city's usually off as well. But as Andrew said, always listen to what Canton City's doing. So as we wrap up today's conversation, is there anything else you would like our viewers to know about the Trauma-Informed Day Treatment School, or any additional tips for helping children prepare for a successful school year?
If there's anything else, biggest takeaway for me, if you or someone you know is struggling with anything mental health related, always reach out. It is never shameful. There is nothing wrong with it. If you need help, always ask for help.
Yeah, I'm going to throw an additional question I just thought for you. So if a parent thinks their child could qualify for CNA's trauma-informed school, do they reach out to you directly? And if they do, what's a good contact information for you? Or would they reach out to their home school district and the home school district reaches out to you?
The parent would need to reach out to the school district, and then the school district will then send us a referral for us to then get the process started.
All right, good clarifying point. So Andrew, thank you for joining us today and sharing your expertise on the importance of routines, emotional wellness, and helping children successfully transition back to school. The start of the new school year, again, is an exciting time, and with the right support and preparation, students can begin the year feeling confident, connected, and ready to learn. As always, for more information about child and adolescent behavioral health and the services we provide to children, teens, and families throughout our community, visit our website, childandadolescent.org, or call 330-433-6075. Thank you again for watching. I'm Dan Mucci, and we'll look forward to seeing you the next time.